from the written report, but that's kind of where we are right now with any of the updates that have come through since this report was filed last week.
Could I just make a comment about the trees? Having gone through something similar like this years ago in another agency I worked at, it's very difficult to isolate and say we're just going to water trees. We don't have a deep watering system set up for our trees. We're like most 99% of every other community out there. The trees are going to get water from rain, they're going to get water from sprinklers. That's why when we did our park tour last year, we noticed a lot of the roots are at the top of the ground. They come to the top seeking the water. The water never gets a chance to make it down there. Some districts have water trucks where it's not really cost effective to do it. I understand what they're trying to do, but I personally don't know how successful they're going to be. If you have 1,000 trees in your park system, to dedicate staff to go out there and hand water these trees and to ensure that the water is going to get down to the ground, where the root system is, it's pretty hard to do, to be honest with you. A lot of new developments now, they're putting in actually underground sprinkler systems, but they're all intent of us only to do that for the first 2 years of the tree's life, and then by that time they're established and they can be watered through the normal cycle. So I'm certainly interested to see what other districts are doing to water trees. It's going to be very difficult to isolate and just water trees and make it effective and also cost effective as well.
Any chance on getting the variance on Chardonnay Park? Joking.
Well,
he asked jokingly.
I know it's
about
You gotta say.
I'm glad you brought it up because one difference between Chardonnay and some of our other parks, Chardonnay and Sierra Creek, are the two parks that are serviced by California American Water.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was the
Cal-Am's mandate was 20% reductions. They've already, they've done their own studies and they're extremely confident they're going to meet their goals. And you can see in my report, just from 2013-14 to 14-15, we cut water use at those two parks by 40%. So, their restrictions aren't near as severe as Sac Suburban. We want to certainly be equitable for all of our parks and all of our residents, but it's going to be a little bit easier to meet reduction goals at those two parks than it is at the Sac Suburban.
No, I understand completely. I was just joking.
We'll see what you do.
Now, do you need us to make a motion to approve the 5 recommendations in the report on this, or is this more of an informational type of item?
Just information.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're going to see this is going to be something that's going to constantly, I think, change as we see how the next 6 to 9 months what Mother Nature is going to do. It could get worse.
Yeah, and one thing too is trees. I mean, we have parks with some pretty mature trees, 50-year-old tree. I mean, it's going to take 20 years, 15, 20 years to get a tree back to that size if drought continues and we're not allowing the water. I'm not surprised that it come up.
And really, I brought it up because it was such an extensively discussed topic a month and a half ago, but hardly even discussed. I just want to see if it's going to continue to be something that they'll be addressing with the school districts and the park directors.
Yeah, I don't know how many parks in the area have trees with the maturity that ours have.
Sure.
Yeah. Next item, approval of the fiscal year 15-16 fees and charges. So, did staff want to elaborate on the fees and charges that were presented to us that you would like us to approve?
Sure. We did not make any adjustments or make any recommendations for adjustments for fees and charges with the board last year. And my understanding is that some of these fees and charges haven't been changed in a number of years with staff. I'm one that doesn't believe, we're kind of caught between that rock and that hard spot. We can't fully load all the costs out there because the community can't, there's a lot of things the community can't afford. And at the same time, if you don't at least make minimum adjustments to your fees and charges, at least to your cost of living index, you're going to start losing ground every year. This year we raised the minimum wage for a lot of for a lot of these part-timers who actually operate these programs on behalf of the district. So we sat down and we actually went through with staff every single program we have and what our fees and charges are. And I like to tell you it was done very scientifically. Where we did a salary survey, we did not do that because we wanted to make sure we included the uniqueness of North Highlands and this ability for the community to be able to afford to pay some of these fees. We also looked at the history of when the last time the fee was raised, and we also looked at what are the costs that have been increased over the last 2 or 3 years as part of the program. So that's why you see there, unless you want to go through any individual one that you want to talk about, you can see these are all minimally raised. What's not included in this, but will be coming back to the board at a later time, and it won't have any, the only impact it would have on the budget would be additional revenue, would be to look at the indoor facilities. We're in the process now of writing a draft policy to change, or not draft policy, excuse me. We're looking at creating a draft of a new policy that makes it more user-friendly to the public, obviously easier to understand, and it gives us a chance to update things and maybe look at our fee structures of how we can merge things together so it's not like a menu when you go shopping that you have to pick from. Sometimes it can get a little complicated. So when that's ready, that'll come back to the board. I think probably, if not the next meeting, the following meeting. But the fees and charges you see before you are ones that we sat down with staff. Mark and Scott have been here for significantly longer than I have, and have a better pulse of the programs and the fees that we charge. So you can see in some cases it's very minor, but we figured we needed to make some sort of minimal adjustment to these. Otherwise, we keep on loading on the expense side, and we're not addressing the revenue side.
Does anyone have any questions for staff?
I do.
So you had a dodgeball.
We did.
Adult, so what does that include? $160, what do you get for dodgeball?
$106. Well, you're going to have 5 different matches a night during that time. It's similar to, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. Have you ever seen the movie Adult Dodgeball? It's I don't know if you played dodgeball last time. I can play dodgeball with the kids here. It's actually an incredible workout.
We're going to run a dodgeball tournament. The girls on my golf program putting on for fundraiser.
Right.
I'm just kind of curious to see how you were doing and what was
Your
the
officials your officials are your main cost.
Right. Oh, yeah. The officials are the main cost. There really is no other cost besides that. It's comparable to like adult volleyball, where the court is already set up. You're only going to have one official that can handle it.
And then, how many players on the team? On the court at one time, I forgot.
We can go, we're going to go all the way up to 8.
8 will fit?
8 will fit, yeah. Roster is maximum up to 10. So if you want to sit out a match, you can sub somebody in. So, yeah.
I want to see this. You have a team? I mean, that's next year?
So it will actually be this summer, coming up in July.
Can you get it in July? I want to come see it.
17?
He wants an email or when the games are.
I played soccer with the kids last week at high school. No. Yeah. Intramural soccer champions versus teachers. That wasn't for me. Well, then won the section championship, the girls, so I'm like, oh man, what are they doing? Yeah, I think it's great. Dodgeball has a big future.
Right, and it's a new idea. It's something that no other Parks and Rec is offering. So hopefully we're trying to catch on that little niche.
Yeah, it's low cost, a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Ice the arm after.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
All right.
I don't know if it was Larry or someone who said that most of the increases are minimal, and it does indeed reflect that. My question are the two big ones that really jumped out at me. Twin Rivers Unified School District basketball and soccer at $350 each. What are those remind me of those programs again, and what that cost incurs?
Okay, so prior, what the programs are is Twin Rivers Unified School District will contract us out to run leagues for their junior high. They used to run their own junior high leagues for probably even greater cost than the 350. What the soccer includes is the 2 officials for each per game, as well as like other equipment to keep it updated. Basketball is also for the 2 officials and a scorekeeper. So there's a lot of it goes into staffing costs.
And this is per team?
That's per team. So if this
Game
boys,
schedule or something, 7-game schedule?
it's
On teams?
it's a 6-game schedule,
6 games?
but every team, well, top 4 teams will make the playoffs. Back in the day, when they ran their own league, they only did it for 5 games. So we've actually increased their game schedule, made it fit. It's only a $25 increase for the fee. What happens with the Twin Rivers Unified School District is the school district actually gives them a lot of budget that they can actually put towards it. So none of the kids actually have to contribute any money to the program. It's totally free for them.
Right. Any more questions or further discussion? And I have a motion to approve the 15-16 fees and charges.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3 ayes, 0 noes, 2 absent. Let's go to approval of the full-time salary schedule for the new fiscal year. So does staff want to elaborate on the full-time salary schedule?
Sure. I think it's important to point out that a couple key changes. One, and Terry gave you a handout this evening as well. In a memo I had given you earlier this evening, I noted that we had forgot to add one of our, I think it was recreation coordinator positions. So this is the replacement that will go into the final budget, and it has that position in there. So a couple things. The salary scale, let's start with the administrator. That salary scale is not obviously, I work on a contract with the board. So my salary is not reflected as part of that salary scale. However, in the event I were to leave and you decided to hire someone and not on a contract, but on a salary scale, that's the salary scale that you have in place. And it reflects last year's cost of living index change. And also, all these positions, as part of the budget process, we have included the 4% now proposed adjustment. In the event that the board decided they did not want to do that, then we would have to pull that 4% out of all of those and make that adjustment in the final budget. But for the preliminary, we build the cost, we build that into it so you know what it would look like. And so the other thing too is that you notice there's the one that says the office assistant. That's the position that we recommended to go from part-time to full-time. And we have not had adequate time, as I mentioned to you at last month's meeting. We had a couple partial surveys. We were looking at salary surveys, and we just figured in this next year it's better to want to do it right. So we didn't have, when we created this position, we didn't have a basis of the salary. So that salary has actually been pegged at the maintenance worker position. When we do the salary survey and it comes back out, it might look different than this. And if it does, then we'll have that discussion. But we had to plug something in that, and again, that when we looked at the salary, that survey that was done, it was actually fairly close to this. So we don't think it's going to be any great change, but we had to put something in there so that we could make it part of the budget. But again, all these positions would be subject, except for the administrator for the salary schedule would be subject to the salary survey that we do. So the changes are, we've built in the 4% in all of the positions. We've added the office assistant to it and the recreation coordinator position. And those are reflected in the handout that you have, as well as what's in your packet.